KG, and with me, as always, is my co-host Mark. What's going on, man?
Not much, brother. Not much.
Yeah, man. How are you liking this weather today?
If Minnesota winter was like this, I'd never bitch.
Well, I tell you what, it's a love-hate thing because although I love when we get this 50-degree weather in the middle of the winter, at the same time, it's kind of like going out to a bar or a nightclub. You get drunk and you leave with the hottest girl in the place, only to wake up to find out that she's the ugliest girl in the place. It's kind of like what this weather is. Tomorrow's going to be ugly. It's going to get cold again. So,
Uh,
but I guess I'll take what I could get.
I never went home with the ugly girl, but I woke up. I was the ugly girl.
Let's get to some quick news. I only have a couple items. Becky Lynch, PW Insider, Elite report that Becky Lynch is set to be at Lucas Oil Stadium this weekend, claiming that WWE will do their best to keep her from being spotted. I mean, it's already out there. What the fuck? As the assumption by many within the company is that Lynch will be one of the surprise entrances in the Women's Rumble Royal match. However, that has not officially been confirmed at the time of this writing. Also, Triple H, it has been announced that he will be inducted into the Hall of Fame. So congratulations to Paul Levesque, Triple H. That's it for the news. We can get right down to the meat.
Actually, I got a spoiler too. There was a possible spoiler that Sheamus is going to win the belt before WrestleMania. They didn't say what belt, but I'm assuming it's the Intercontinental.
Yeah. I mean, that'd be awesome if he could finally say that he's the Grand Slam. Oh, and also something I always forget to do. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, to our podcast. I am constantly working on getting people in for interviews. Monday, I have the Royal Hawaiian. She is the original Glow Girl from the all women's promotion in the 80s. The following Monday, I have an independent professional wrestling manager that I will be interviewing, a Triple M, and as well as we do the weekly recap for AEW and WWE, Dynamite, Raw, SmackDown, the Kellys, and the pay per view, plus all the news. And then every Tuesday, the wrestling legend Bob Cook, the Cooker, he joins us to do the recap of Monday Night Raw. So some exciting things that we're doing here. So again, please subscribe. It's free. So now we can get down to the meat of it. We're doing the, of course, Dynamite, the EW Dynamite recap.
Yes, we are. All right, so we'll start with Osprey to the ring versus Brian Cage. Uh, Brian Cage kind of looked like Dr. Steve Williams from a distance. From a distance. Um, they showed Omega backstage on the ground. Looked like he got worked over. Uh, Cage is in extraordinary shape. Um, he was showing great strength when he caught Osprey jumping off the railings and just caught him in midair and held him up like a suplex and walked him around the ring. I was actually rather impressed. Let's see, Will for the pin, but then Fletcher and Takeshita come out 4-on-2 because Kenny came out. Kenny and Will are left in the ring in just a heap.
Yeah, so it was a good match with a couple of good spots. The issue is here we go once again, Brian Cage taking the 3 count. This guy is too big to be booked in a match with a guy like Will Ospreay that's much smaller than him, and then having Brian Cage take the pin. Brian Cage is such a great wrestler. He's light on his feet in the square circle. He can do some incredible things, but he's constantly being booked to lose these matches. I don't get how this helps with putting him with Lance Archer as being this dominant tag team that's going to eventually get the belts. It doesn't make sense to me. And going to Kenny Omega. Now remember, he was jumped backstage that they forced Will Ospreay to watch. And then when Will Ospreay started getting double teamed after the or jumped on after the match happened, Kenny Omega comes out. But this is what I knows about Kenny Omega. His hair, all nice and fixed, pulled nice and clean in a ponytail, not one hair loose. He doesn't look disheveled after he's getting his ass kicked. It, AEW is doing a horrible job when it comes to the details of stuff, and details matter in professional wrestling. I mean, Kenny Omega should have come running to the ring to save Will Ospreay limping, something to make him look like he did indeed just get jumped. Of course, we didn't have that. But overall, as far as the match goes, I'll give it a solid B.
Yeah, I know it was good. So next we go to Renee trying to get an interview with Swerve, gets Hangman briefly, then MJF. MJF calling uh, Claudio half man, half horse. Wow, it's bad when you can't even read your own writing. Uh, oh, deal with the devil, same thing with Jeff Jarrett. Uh, then we go to Double J versus Claudio. Jeff Jarrett's got 2,400 matches. That's just wow.
Yeah.
Yuta comes to the ring. He really didn't interfere at first, and then he tried to interfere. Mox sneaks in, spikes Double J, and Claudio gets the pin. But you know what? Jeff looked pretty good.
Yeah, but this is the problem. You have Claudio, who's supposed to be this great, strong professional wrestler. He's in the Death Riders. This group is supposed to be the group that's also hurting people. And the fact that Claudio needed help to beat a 57-year-old man, to me, it was just poorly done. I didn't like the match overall. I think that it was somewhat sloppy. It goes back to again, the whoever's booking this shit, not paying attention to little details. Now, I was wrong. I thought that it was going to be some type of disqualification, so we'd see a Jeff Jarrett against Mox for the championship because this was basically Jeff Jarrett his only chance. But if they were going to have Castagnoli win this match, then it should have been a clean win instead of needing the outside interference to beat Jeff Jarrett. I think it was shit. I gave it a D plus overall match.
he isn't dog.
Yep.
Oh, I kind of liked it. I'd give it a C plus even. Um, anyways, MJF comes in the ring. He starts to talk and just drops Jeff Jarrett like a bad habit.
Yeah. He drops him and then said, I was always told to respect my elders. That's why I'm not going to tell you I told you so.
Right.
But again, if this was Jeff Jarrett's last chance to go after the belt that Mox has, that was the agreement last weekend. Then where are we going with this with MJF? Like, what is the reason why MJF decided that he was going to attack Jeff Jarrett? There should be no more storyline, really, because the whole storyline with MJF was, let me help you, and you get the belt. You get an opportunity to get the belt. Jeff Jarrett said, nope, don't need your help. This led to the agreement with Castagnoli and Jeff Jarrett that if I beat you, then I can finally have that match. If I lose, I won't have the opportunity. He lost. So what's the reason MJF is attacking?
I don't know. I think this storyline's not over. I think Jeff's going to get another shot at Claudio. I'm not sure. Somehow MJF's going to fit into this where MJF might interfere on Double J's behalf, and it might be the final swerve of Jeff Jarrett being a cemented villain going out at the end. Who knows?
So if they actually had it where Jeff Jarrett's like, man, you were right. Fuck what everyone else says. I am on your side. And then have Jeff Jarrett as kind of this mentor, this manager type to help MJF finally have this title run against whoever's on the championship belt. And then in this match, Jeff Jarrett says, fuck you. I want to make sure you don't get the belt. And he fucks over MJF. That would be a cool ending to Jeff Jarrett's career. Who knows, though?
Where Jeff Jarrett swerves MJF?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm down with that. I'm down with that completely. So take the help you can get and then swerve them later on. So, all right, next we go to Renee and Ricochet. No swerve tonight in Ricochet's match. Otherwise, they won't have their match next week. Next we go to Ricochet versus AR Fox. Another talent. God damn, this guy is so good. So good. And they misutilize him. And to a degree, I can see why, because there's nothing flashy about him, you know. But as far as being able to be in the ring and go, AR Fox can be in the ring and go. And he's not a spring chicken either.
Right. And but to your point about nothing flashy, again, this is where AEW says one thing, but they mean the other. AEW is supposed to be professional wrestling. They constantly professional wrestling. None of this sports entertainment shit. This is professional wrestling. So if this is truly professional wrestling, why does the talent have to be flashy whenever they can perform in the ring the way AR Fox can actually perform? AR Fox is fucking amazing in the ring. This man should be at least, if he's not in the main event upper tier, he should at least be in the upper tier of the mid quarters instead of being used as an enhanced talent.
Oh yeah. No, he should be in a run for the TNT belt for Ring of Honor television title, easily. Easily.
Yeah.
There's no reason why he shouldn't be, but yeah, you're right. They're using him as enhanced talent. And it's a shame. Now, as far as having some flash, like I discussed with you beforehand, I think they need to up their production value. They need to make it, and I hate to say it, but they need to make it more showy, you know, and maybe not cartoonish, but a little bit more showy, you know. WCW struggled for years by not having any flash or very limited flash, and it wasn't until the NWO came around that they got their big push, But other than
Yeah,
that,
maybe, but that Mark, that's very, very small when it comes to the issues with AEW. The big issue again is Tony Khan, and look, for the most part, they can have they have the ability to have amazing matches because of the talent that they have. But what's making it terrible goes back to the storylines. And when they do start a storyline, either A, they have no direction on where they're going, or B, they just drop it like a bad habit, or there's no follow through with it. And
well,
that is a huge issue. And another issue, and I was going to talk about this in the Ricochet AR Fox match, was there was a part of the match where Ricochet sees the people's elbow, and then he transitioned into the standing moonsault. And then there's Tony Schiavone making the comment, he doesn't represent the people. Tony Khan, and you know damn well this came from Tony Khan. Tony Khan needs to fucking forget about WWE and just concentrate on his own show to make his show good. Because right now, their shows are not good, except for the pay-per-views. I mean, this show tonight, overall, I give it a C minus. Barely, it was almost a D in my opinion. And I'm not the only one that feels this way. As I reported on the last podcast, man, they're having to go 2-for-1 for sales in Australia right now. with a match that it includes the women's world champion Mariah May, who's from fucking Australia. That by itself should be drawing in a huge crowd, but it's not because AEW has become very difficult to watch. And his obsession with WWE, it has to stop because WWE doesn't give a shit about AEW. I mean, WWE's talent enhancement program is beating Dynamite. So, but as far as this match goes, I will say that um, I think this was probably the match of the night, in my opinion.
It was. You got to respect someone that does a hip toss right on the ring apron.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, AR Fox did that. I don't remember what it's called, but when he jumped off the top rope, spun and landed on top of Ricochet, man, that should have been the 1, 2, 3 right there.
450?
Yeah, we did 450 splash. That should have been the 3 count. I understand why it's not. Ricochet's involved in this feud with Swerve. But yeah, I mean, I was like, holy shit, what a fucking move. That was the best move of that match and the best move of the night.
I don't know if it was the best move. I still go with the hip toss out in the ring apron. So
that was great too. But the reason why I say that 450 was in my opinion the best move of the night, definitely in that match, was because AR Fox or MJF, oh, Jesus, Ricochet was so close to the rope in the corner there that if AR Fox didn't nail that exactly, 2 people could have gotten hurt. But he is so good, he nailed that to the T, dead center where it's supposed to land. Just amazing.
all right. So, anyways, Swerve wasn't allowed to interfere in the match, but after the match, Swerve jumped in.
First up, yep, and then um, again, I think that, and they actually, Tony Schiavone also reminded the fans, and even myself, honestly, about the friendship that Swerve and AR Fox had at one time back during the Mago day, or the Magos, I said. Yeah, the faction originally that Swerve was in with Prince Nana called the Mago or something like that.
Mogul.
Yeah, the mogul. That's it. Thank you.
But it goes beyond.
So yeah, that was a nice reminder that hey, this guy, him and I used to be close friends.
Yeah,
So,
but it goes. I think it goes into the independent scenes too.
it does, but I think the whole thing with them not expanding to the independent scene is because people will most remember it from that faction instead of the independent scene. So, but you are correct. They have been friends for a very long time.
Anyways, Ricochet ends up using AR Fox as a shield to get away from Swerve.
Yeah. I give this match a B plus.
Oh yeah, easily a B plus, easily. Next, we go to Renee interviewing Mox about the briefcase and the world title. Really, no interest. Absolutely no interest.
And you're right. But here's a question for you. And it's funny that my wife actually asked me this question. She's like, do you think that it's hard for Renee and John Moxley to keep in character because they're married? Because of course, Mox kind of being a heel, anti-hero in between, whatever you want to call him. Renee has to have that body language, make those facial expressions, like she just doesn't like this guy, type of a thing. And I would love to see the behind the scene type stuff that goes on with these type of interviews that involves people who are married like this. Just something that kind of whatever. Anyway, move on. Apparently, you didn't find it entertaining with your poo-poo face that you have.
No, absolutely not. The whole Mox and the world title, I have no interest. No, I have more interest in watching Jeff Jarrett face Moxley than anything Moxley will do in the next 6 months.
I agree, and I think a big part of that is when Mox initially beat Brian, And instead of putting that belt around his waist, he put it in that bag. There was that intrigue then. And I think that if they would have did something within maybe a few weeks, whatever, to explain it, we may be more intrigued about what's going on or more interested. But how long has it been now? And they've not explained that whatsoever. Again, very poor storytelling.
Well, it's been 3 months,
Yeah.
you know, and I just have no interest.
Right. And you and I both have said, look, we understand, and we even like, for the most part, long storylines, as long as they make sense. This is a very long storyline, but it makes no sense. They have not tried to even make something understandable in the past 3 months. Now, I don't know if you've seen this, but John Moxley and one of the other Death Rider members, I can't remember particularly which one it was, they did an interview, and you can see it on YouTube. And John Moxley said, instead of questioning us, just enjoy the ride. But it's like, how can I enjoy the ride if I don't know what the fuck the ride is? It's, I don't know.
This is a character he tried playing at the WWE, and they shot it down right quick in a hurry. I think. You know, and
Yeah,
I
I
can,
agree.
and I can.
So do you think when you say he tried to play that character, was it whenever he was in the feud with Roman Reigns and he made that comment, that the cancer whole comment about Roman Reigns, when
No, I
Roman
think
Reigns dealt with cancer?
uh, trying to face Brock Lesnar.
Okay.
I mean, either or probably works, but you know, I think Mox thinks he's got a mind for wrestling, and maybe he does, but this gimmick's not working. And you can't be 100% on all your gimmicks. Just look at Jericho. You know, I mean, granted, Jericho's had more good than bad, but and maybe somebody likes his current gimmick. I just don't like it.
Yeah, I think maybe Mox may have considered to have a good mind back when he was on the independent scene. But the independent scene, and nothing against independent wrestling, I love independent wrestling, but it's much different than being on this big stage that he is now on. And I just don't think that he has the mind for professional wrestling. And I'll be quite honest with you, and this may piss some people off, and I don't care. I don't even think Mox is a very intelligent person. I've watched shoot interviews with him, and he just came across as some guy that had a box full of rocks or brain. Just my opinion, just how I perceived it. So I just, I don't know. I think he is more of the follower. This is what we need you to do. This is what your promo should be. Boom, bam, boom. Here's the money.
Yep. Let's see. Next, Jericho's promo for the movie he's in, Dark Match. Big Bill about gloating about last week's match. Jericho and Bad Apple versus the Outlanders next week. Or Outrunners, sorry.
No, I think that's actually on Collision.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Sorry.
On Collision, and I don't care.
That's funny because I like the Outrunners. I think they're good comic relief.
It's not about the Outrunners that I don't care about. I don't care about Jericho and any of the guys that are in the learning tree when it comes to them being in a match. I just have zero interest in it. This has overplayed itself. It was funny at first for a week. It's overplayed itself. It's time to end. I want to see more of that vicious. If Jericho must wrestle still, I want to see maybe something like an inner circle or have the inner circle get back together. That to me was his best gimmick, his best faction in AEW. Everything else has just been garbage as far as I'm concerned.
Well,
In my opinion.
I think his best character was when he first got to WWE, and then probably the List. That's probably
Right.
the
No,
best.
I'm talking about though just AEW. Is what I'm saying. Just in AEW, the inner circle, when he was still a little funny, but still serious and that vicious side of him.
Yeah.
That's what I want to see.
All right. So next we go to Jay White versus Yuta. White for the pin. And that's all I really got to say about that match because it was a good match, and actually it was actually a good match, but it really didn't hold my interest.
So after the match,
Yep.
Jay hit Yuta with multiple Blade Runners before the Death Riders arrived. Claudio Castagnoli attacked White from behind, but then rated FTR arrived to make the save. Dax Harwood laid out the challenge to Death Riders for a collision, FTR versus Death Riders in a Mid-South street fight. Now, to a lot of people who may be confused or don't know what a Mid-South street fight is, back in the day, I grew up watching Mid-South wrestling. It was a Southern territory, covered Mississippi, Louisiana, and a tiny bit of Texas. The Von Erichs had the majority of Texas. Mid South wrestling was actually known for having their extremely violent matches, lots of color. So, this is what the Mid South Street Fight match is. I believe it's going to be very bloody, very violent.
Didn't Mid South turn into UWF at one time then?
It did. It did. It eventually went on to be UWF, and it then kind of merged into Atlantic Championship Wrestling.
Yeah, but I thought they were based out of Oklahoma.
Uh, they were. I'm saying though, his territory though was the Mississippi, Louisiana, Oklahoma, and a snippet of Texas because his promoter was
Watts.
Ernie Ladd, the big cat Ernie Ladd.
I thought it was Bill Watts that owned it.
Bill Watts owned it, but the promoter, his promoter and creator was Ernie Ladd.
I got you. And I'm not trying to correct you. I was just trying to
No,
get.
no, no, no.
Yeah.
No, I get it. Yeah, yeah. And the reason why that's such a big deal, believe it or not, was Bill Watts, Bill Watts was kind of tagged as being this big racist guy. And what was funny about that was his promoter, like he said, was Ernie Ladd. He lived in Lake Charles, Louisiana. Black guy, black man. His number one baby face was a junkyard dog, a black guy. And the very first black man to hold the world title, which was Butch Reed, was under Bill Watts with Mid South Wrestling. And so it's funny to me how he was just labeled this big racist, but yet he was the one at the time doing a lot more work with people of color than most other promotions. It's just wow, the ignorance that goes out there.
Yep. So, anyways, next we go to Mariah Marie.
Real quick, I give this a B minus.
Yeah, I'll give you that. I'll go the same.
And the reason why, look, I love Jay White. Willie Yuta, he's somewhat well, I mean, he is talented, but he's young, and right now he's just kind of bland. In my opinion, and this is why I gave it a B minus.
You know what? He could grow into into a goddamn, what was his name? Brian Pillman. He can grow into a Brian Pillman kind of character. He might make it.
That's a reach, though. To go
Yeah,
from what he is now to Brian Pillman.
yeah, but that's where he needs to go if he wants to continue on in that path of being a heel. He needs to get to that Brian Pillman kind of mentality.
He better start trying to bring in some crazy because Brian Pillman was so good at the crazy role or the crazy character that he literally had people in real life wondering, is he really smart? Is he crazy? Like they didn't know what he was.
Right.
So that's how good he was.
And he was so good that they paid him to be on crutches. There was no taking him off the camera. He was so good they paid him on crutches.
Yep.
Kept him on camera just for his personality. Not because he could wrestle, just because of his personality.
Right. Yep.
And his son, by God, could probably reach the same levels.
if he has an opportunity. AEW, see, this is something else. They had a diamond in the rough with his son. And what did they do? They tried to copy the whole Hollywood blonde bullshit. That Steve Austin and Pillman was in. They tried to recreate that. Stop trying to recreate shit. You can't do it. It has to be something organic. Pillman and Austin were put together, and what happened once they were put together was organic. And what happened? They end up losing Junior, and I don't know, man.
Yeah. Nonetheless, his son is showing shades of his father. Um, so next we go to Mariah May's video, and then it reverts to Tony Storm's video. Tony Storm being timeless Tony Storm, which you know what? I like the way they built this up and brought it back. I do like that because at first you're like, what the hell's going on? You know, what the hell's this bullshit? And then you find out it's all an act, and she remembers everything. And I like the
So
way.
I'm going to disagree. Um, the Tony Storm, the timeless Tony Storm thing should have ended when it did. I think that it's incredibly cheesy, and I'm not a fan. I want to see Tony Storm, like Tony, not this bullshit timeless Tony Storm or this bullshit she can't remember shit Tony Storm that they had. I want the Tony Storm that I was introduced to in um the Mae Young Classic. That's what I want. This Tony Storm, I think, is just it's beneath her. She's way too talented. And as well, Mark, I want to see something fresh. We're back to Mariah May and Tony Storm. There's so many other talents that they could be working with, but instead they're doing this shit.
Yeah,
Not a fan of it.
but it gets down to you want to be on TV or you don't want to be on TV. You know, so you want a paycheck or you want half a paycheck for sitting on your ass.
Well, I get that, but like I said, Khan has so many women there that he could have chose from, and instead he goes right back to shit that we've seen.
Yeah, but at least they're continuing with the storyline.
Yeah,
So,
we'll see.
and you talk about all these girls they have. What happened to that girl they brought in the last pay per view that we haven't seen hide her hair since? Oh, but a video.
I agree.
Can't
See, this is
remember.
what I'm talking about. This
Yeah,
type of shit is exactly what I'm talking about.
right. So,
You know,
all right.
and real quick, you want to talk about a way to build Mariah May up as being this legit uh woman that deserves this belt? Put her with I can't remember the woman's name, Maria or something like that. Uh, the big girl, right, from the match last Wednesday. Put her, put Mariah May with her, and have Mariah May uh, win the match, get over. That's how you build up your champion to convince the people that this is a legitimate um, person who deserves to be this champion. And now it's going to bother me. I got to remember what her name is. Go ahead.
All right. So next we go to a video of the Bang Bang Gang. So they must be on their way back. I don't know what happened to these guys. They've been gone for I don't know 6 8 weeks. The minute Jay got back, they were gone.
Yeah, I tell you what. One thing I noticed about this video was both of them are really starting to look like their dad. Like holy crap! Uh, the one who is the skinniest of the two, that's not as jacked. He really looks like Billy Gunn. Was like, man, these two guys are really a mirror of Billy Gunn, and I like them. At first, I was not the biggest fan, but they have come a long way, and they've really grown a lot in the past few years. So, my question is when they come back, are they still going to be part of that faction with Jay White?
I think so. I think that's why they got the whole video.
Yeah.
I don't know. All right. So next we go to, I think it was a video of Takeshita. He picks up another belt in Japan, the Neverweight belt. There's a bigger title to it, or bigger name to it, but I just went with Neverweight belt.
Yeah, and then there was also I think this interview was before Takeshita. It was an interview with the new tag team champ, the Hurt Syndicate, and they promised to accept any challenge from any challenger.
Really, I don't remember seeing the Hurt Syndicate at all last night.
Yep, yep. It was an interview, and man, I mean, look, I'm excited that they are the tag team champs. I hope that with this open challenge, basically, that they will be featured, that the tag team titles will be featured a lot more than what they were with Private Party. But I also hope that these guys hold the belts for quite a long time because I really can't think of any tag team right now who are dominant enough to beat the Hurt Syndicate if they're being booked properly.
You know what? To be honest, though, anything with a world title in front of it, whether it's world title single, tag team, or trios, you don't see them being defended much.
Right. No?
Let's see. Then the recap of Omega and Osprey getting a beatdown. A recap of Double J's defeat. Then we have Tyra and Deanna uh, tossing a challenge to Cameron Harley or Harley Cameron. You know what? I think they're sneaking her in the back door. She's getting a lot of um
Attention?
yeah, she is. You know,
Yeah,
and good for her because you know what? I like her. That she's a crazy bitch, but I like her.
I do. But let's start seeing her winning some matches.
Yeah, I think you're gonna.
Because, well, this is what I'm afraid of that they're just going to, for no rhyme or reason, put her in a match for a title. And that doesn't make sense. Let's see her with some matches. The more matches she wins with the gimmick that she has, I think the more fans are going to get behind her and let her deserve to get a title shot. Because then when she wins that title, she's going to keep those fans. And she should have a pretty good run with the fans behind her.
No, no. Speaking of that, after I went on my little tirade, I got to thinking I haven't seen Queen Amanada in a long time either. Is she injured?
I'm not sure. I'm going to have to look this up. I can't remember correctly or not if this is true, but I swore I seen her in a match with Collision last Saturday, but I could be mistaken.
I don't know, but there was an up and comer too that they kind of just you know have done away with.
Yeah,
Um,
and real quick, not only was she an up and comer, she was being received by the fans as an organic up and comer.
yep, and she got a
Whenever someone starts getting the fans behind them as organically, that's when you create a massive star. So I don't know if she's injured, but if she's not injured and Tony Khan is not using her, this is once again another example of why Tony Khan needs to not be in the position that he's in.
it's almost to the point where he's got enough talent where he could do a Raw and a SmackDown on Dynamite and Collision.
I mean, that was the whole point of having Friday nights, and it just bombed. And Collision's not doing well either. Collision actually lost almost half of their audience from the previous Saturday night. I mean, they're not doing well whatsoever.
Yeah,
And people could say, was that?
which is sad because last Collision was pretty decent.
Yeah, but I mean, people could say that ratings doesn't matter. And maybe in the sense that Warner Brothers has already paid AEW all this money. I get it, but at the same time, it doesn't look good, and it doesn't look good that you can't even pack smaller arenas. That's not a good look. They need to get it together.
Yep, can't argue that. So next we go to Monet versus, and I'm not even going to try to pronounce this, Saka.
Yuka Suzuki,
Yeah, Yuka. You know what?
terrible. First night of the match.
Say what?
Mercedes, did you catch that goof up that Mercedes did? So she threw Yuka to the ropes, and Yuka stopped herself by grabbing a rope, right? Well, what did freaking Mercedes Monet do? She jumps to the ground like Yuka was going to run and jump over her, and then Mercedes Monet realizes that she fucked up. And then all of a sudden, she just grabs her back like she's hurting.
Yeah.
I mean, right when I started to say that Mercedes Monet is looking better, she has this match. I look, there were some people who actually liked this match. I just didn't. I thought it was terrible. I think it was they didn't mesh well together. Didn't like it whatsoever. I gave this match a D minus.
D as in dog.
Listen, dog.
Oh, I give it a C minus. Because I still see improvements in Monet. You know, and yeah, I can tolerate a botch here and there, but she's still got improvements that I've seen.
But we're talking about someone that's carrying these belts. If she's still at the point that she's needing to improve because she improves a couple of matches, that she fucks up a couple of matches, that she improves again, this isn't a woman that should have these title belts. Put it on the women that deserve it.
Yeah, but they're all because of her connections.
Yeah, this was a hard Dynamite to watch. I can tell you the only reason I didn't turn it off was because I had this podcast, right? Otherwise, I would have turned it off and tried to catch it whenever I could, via DVR or whatever you call it. But like I said, the whole show, I gave it a D as in dog.
I'll give it a C.
There's something needs to happen. Something needs to happen to make this show better. Because right now, it's not good in my opinion, and that sucks because I used to love AW. I used to look forward to Wednesday nights with AW. I don't care what was going on. I was not going to miss AW on a Wednesday night, and now the podcast is my motivation to watch.
It's funny because I still have motivation to watch it, and it's almost and I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'd almost still rather watch AEW because it's still something different for me than WWE.
Yeah, you know what the difference is? WWE has become really good. AEW has become really bad. That's the difference.
I don't know, but I still would rather watch AEW than WWE at this point. You
Yeah,
know, but
I wouldn't. And
20
look,
years.
WWE is not perfect either. Friday night SmackDown is a struggle to watch right now. Not because it's bad, but because it's 3 hours. SmackDown being 3 hours is just too long for me. Raw goes by pretty fast for me. The 3 hours really hasn't bothered me yet.
Because it hasn't been 3 hours.
But no, it's because back whenever it was 3 hours on USA, that was tough as well. Raw has just been really good. Uh, and I don't think it's just because it's on Netflix. I think that, well, actually, it is because it's on Netflix. Because all of Raw's top, or all of WWE's top players are now on Raw for the most part. And I think that's why it's better. And SmackDown still has those top players as well. Damian Priest, to name one of them. But Raw has just been really, really good that I've enjoyed it. And the 3 hours has just flown right on by. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think AEW is going to get any better until somebody sits Tony Khan down that Tony Khan really trusts to say, look, man, you've got to stop. You've got to just be the money guy and hire the right people to recreate in many ways AEW and go back to what made AEW the actual alternative wrestling promotion to watch. Because right now, AEW reminds me of WWE when WWE was really bad.
Um, the thing is though, he's got to see the writing on the walls with ticket sales. He's got to see that right on the wall. If he's thinking that HBO is going to save his ass, yeah, it will for this contract, but they aren't going to resign him on another one. I bet.
Well, but see, this is the thing, and I think this is what maybe making him find that are not really caring because yes, they are making money because of Warner Brothers. But this is the thing with Warner Brothers: 250,000 viewers. It's terrible as far as I'm concerned. But when you're talking about it being on TNT, well, shit, that's good. It's on TNT. When you talk about 400,000 on their main flagship show, Dynamite, man, that's pretty shitty. But the TBS, well, shit, that's good. And because of that, I think it made Khan very complacent and blind to what's happening to his actual product. Because you are right in the sense of if and when the day should ever come that Warner Brothers is like, you know, this TNA wrestling, I'm just using TNA as an example. This TNA wrestling who's gotten really good because they actually partnered with the number one brand at one time, and they're not partnered with them no more, but they're still hot. Maybe I should sign them to TBS and to TNT instead of AEW.
Yeah, who
This
knows?
is what Tony Khan should be thinking about. So, but hey, we're just two guys on a podcast, that's new. What do we know? It doesn't matter that, we've been watching wrestling, 40 plus years. you know, who knows, man? I don't know. I just know that I'm not I'm not being critical of AEW because I want them to go under. I'm being critical of AEW because I want them to survive. I want them to figure out their shortcomings so that they can become hot again. Because and I say this repeatedly, so to you, the more wrestling out there, the better the fans are, and as well as the talent. And not just us. I mean, think of the jobs that professional wrestling create, the cameramen, and all the other jobs that people have to have. So it's just good all around. But we need Tony Khan to get the fuck out of his way, as far as I'm concerned. But other than that, that's pretty much our show for tonight. Uh, don't forget to catch us on Saturday's the Royal Rumble. And because I am actually going to be at a wrestling live event right here in Minnesota, the very first barbed wire rope match. Instead of they're having ropes around the T square circle, it's actually going to be barbed wire. Very first time Minnesota's ever had that. So we're going to be at that event. So we won't be able to do the recap of SmackDown, but we definitely will be back to do the recap of the Royal Rumble. I am so excited about the Royal Rumble. It is absolutely stacked. And although we each have our own predictions, we each think that this is where it's going to go because of how stacked the Royal Rumble is. We really don't truly know 100%. There's no telling what's going to happen. And that's both in the men and women's Royal Rumble. So I'm very excited about it. The only thing I do know that's 100% in my, as far as I'm concerned, is that Cody Rhodes is going to keep the title. KO's not walking away with that title. Other than that, I have no idea what's going to happen.
Yep.
So, but anyway, all right, man. Well, you got anything?
Nope. Sure don't.
Just again, the Royal Hawaiian. She's going to be on Monday. I'm going to be dropping that Monday night. Tuesday, we're going to have the cooker, Bob Cook, with us to recap Monday Night SmackDown. And then the following Monday, I'm going to have Triple M. He's an independent professional. He's a manager for professional wrestling. And that's going to be a really good interview as well. Other than that, my man, what you got?
No, man, just ring the damn bell.
Ring the damn bell, guys, and we will see you on Sunday for the recap of
Royal Rumble.
the Royal Rumble. You guys have a great one.